Hey, what's going on? Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in from. This is Matter of Opinion. I'm your boy Walls P,
It's your boy Ray the Dawn.
and we got two guests. Everybody know in the comment section, she be going in and everything like that.
The famous Miss Tia.
Yep,
Hello,
we got
everybody.
here, and then we got Mr. Talk Edit, aka Deontay.
What's
Everybody,
good, y'all? If y'all don't know me, I'm from YouTube. Always talking politics. Critical race theory has been a big discussion lately, so I came on to share my opinion on that.
yep. So yeah, there's definitely gonna be a interesting show. So to start things off, I'll ask, what is your views on the critical race theory, and which one of y'all would like to go first?
Go ahead, Deontay.
So critical race theory is actually more important now than it was when it became a hot topic, because now it seems like people want to forget about race, and it's quite ridiculous. The same people who are saying let's not teach critical race theory and making a big deal about critical race theory were the same people saying let's keep up the Confederate flags and it's our history and we need to know about it even if we don't like it. Same thing. We need to know about what's going on, what critical race theory actually is, whether you like it or not. Because all critical race theory is just looking at American history from a different perspective, looking at American history from a perspective that people don't want to look at it from, because it doesn't show America in the best light. It teaches about racism and how impactful racism really was. People today, they like slavery was a long time ago, slavery doesn't matter, it's in the past, but they don't really want to look at what slavery did and how it impacts the present. And that's what critical race theory does. It helps you look at how it impacts the present.
All right, who want to go next? You want to go, Ray, or you, Tia?
I'll let Miss Tia take it.
All right.
I I understand where you're coming from, Deontay. I do agree with you to an extent, but I just wanted to point out the misconception that everyone who wanted the who was in favor of the Confederate flag or even the Confederate symbols to remain up weren't all in support of it or weren't all against critical race theory. It literally was something that was studied in graduate programs, legal studies. So I hear what you're saying, but personally, I don't think it should be put into the K through 12 system. And the reason why I say that is, and I guess we'll get into that a little bit later, but the premise of it is good, but I don't understand how you can say that, we don't talk about race or, we want to keep it hush hush when pretty much it's in everything that we do. Anytime that you turn around, anything, any law, social media, whatever you could think of, race has always been a discussion, even prior to Trump being in office. So I don't agree that nobody talks about race and that it's hush hush. I feel as though right now we talk about it way more. But that's just my opinion, and then we'll get into that a little bit more.
Okay. What's your take on it, Ray the Dawn?
So I'm on the fence with it because I would say half of me agrees with some of the things coming out of critical race theory, especially when it comes to the different. If you prime example, right? Um, a theory that comes to critical race theory is the differentiation of prices in black communities for homes compared to white communities. You know what I'm saying? Like a
Yeah.
black community would be like 25% less than a white community simply because it's black. You know what I'm saying? That's what their the theory that they put out there from critical race theory, and I could see where that comes from, and I could partly agree with it. At the same time, I have to disagree with it because it's a matter of the how we keep the neighborhood. Like if you go to a white neighborhood, they keep it clean, they keep it well constructed. You go to a black neighborhood, sometimes people's lawns is really crazy. And y'all know what I'm talking about, that 16 feet of grass that's just been there. You know what I'm saying? So,
Get that.
I have two things about what Ray said. The study that about the houses and the home,
Mhm.
it actually controlled for neighborhoods and other factors, and it still showed that black homes were devalued by 23%.
Hmm.
And as far as critical race theory, what critical race theory wouldn't say is that it's devalued by 23%. That means that, you know, racism happened. What critical race theory would have you do is look at is devalued by 23% and look to see if there are any historical factors or factors that led to that. Like, for example, what happened with redlining, you would look to see if redlining has an effect on those 23%, on that 23%, rather than just make the assumption that that 23% was absolutely has something to do with race. So you're critically thinking about what laws and what things happened that caused that causes the discrepancies.
What
But
is
it
your
says, but is that something that you feel should be taught in K through 12, or should that be some, or like Ray had mentioned, something that should be at least taught in, high schools or
I
even
feel I
in.
So
feel it should, I feel it should be taught in high schools. The reason why is because when you hit high school, that's when it kind of gets you ready for the next step in life. You get what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if you graduate whatever, and let's just say you want to go into real estate and stuff like that. If this is something that you never had the knowledge of or never taught about, then you will accept that that undervalue of a home or something that you're trying to sell because you have no knowledge of it. You get what I'm saying? It's just like
Mhm.
if you're going to school and all you think the way to go into school is to get financial aid or whatever, and you never heard about grants and there was never taught about grants or anything like that, you're going to think, hey, by the time you come out of school, you automatically going to have debt. So if you don't have the knowledge of these things being taught to you, then you succumb to taking a lot of losses.
Mhm.
can I say something? The thing about critical race theory being taught in schools, there was never a push for critical race theory to be taught in schools. What critical race theory is an advanced learning. It's something like sociology. That's like saying they're teaching sociology in K through 12. It's
Hmm.
not. The thing is, anytime a teacher or something says, uh, equity, teaching about equity, that's all of a sudden critical race theory. When they talk about white privilege, and white privilege actually came out before the concept of white privilege actually outdates critical race theory. But anytime you say anything about race, equity, or anything, they automatically put that into the bubble of critical race theory.
Not
But critical race
necessarily.
theory is actually too advanced to be taught in K through 12.
I definitely agree with you. And actually, there is something called multicultural education. Some people may even call it culturally responsive teaching. And it does incorporate other ethnicities, other cultures. So it's not just your, traditional, like let's say Catholic holidays. So you're not just learning about when, Columbus Day, if anyone still celebrates that, or Christmas or anything like that. They're also having months where it's Hispanic Heritage Month, it's Black History Month, like incorporating more. So instead of just bringing up race when it comes to oppression, we can also bring it up in terms of celebrating our history, because that can also help our students in terms of, and our kids in identifying with their culture and knowing who they are. And it's sad because a lot of us don't know our culture. They think that it started, okay, as soon as you were here. And it's like, no, you trace your roots. You may go back to Haiti or maybe Jamaica, or maybe it could be anywhere, but we don't talk about those things. So the other thing that I have an issue with is the fact that a lot of these teachers, I'm sorry, they're ill equipped to teach the subject. So, for example, you could go on David Harris Jr.'s Instagram, and yes, he is a conservative, and he has a gentleman that's on there. It's a little clip from, I think it's like a parent-teacher meeting or something like that, and they're addressing the board in terms of talking about critical race theory, and you have teachers that are blatantly telling students, if you're of color, you're oppressed. And one young lady went to her teacher, which the father had an issue with, and she said, well, wait a minute, my mother's white, so what does that mean? And she said, oh, well, that means half of you is oppressed and you can't do certain things. So when you say stuff like that, it's like, well, wait a minute, how is that child supposed to digest that? So it's not even just so much the content, it's also the people who are, like I said, ill-equipped to teach these subjects. Because let's just be honest, if you keep feeding someone negativity, they're going to adapt that. Now, you may have some who rise above it and say, you know what, this isn't me. I'm going to go beyond that stereotype. I'm not going to be a statistic.
It's a possibility, but at the same time, I gotta say, it depends on the mindset of the individual
Okay.
and how they understand critical race theory. Like Tia said, if a professional person who knows what they're talking about teaches the subject, then whoever is getting that information, whether it be a kid from the 9th grade or higher, I'm pretty sure they'd be able to grasp it if it's taught correctly.
Right.
I
And
get-
just
well, no, go ahead.
my bad. Just to piggyback off of that, Tia, and you all are absolutely correct. Every African American studies teacher or black leader that I know, I wouldn't hear them saying that if you're black, you're oppressed. They add power to blackness every time. Like my African American studies teacher in college, we had to do a project, and she got so upset when the people did their project on African American history, and they only stuck with slavery and only stuck with the civil rights and how they treated us like animals and how they treated us like dogs. She got so upset with that because we had a rich history and they didn't go over anything except how they treated us.
Tia, so here's my question to you.
Okay.
Do you feel that the whole conversation about race is what's making black individuals weigh themselves down because they're looking at it as no matter what I do, my skin color is what's going to prevent me from doing what XYZ because the system works against me pretty much. Is that like how you're looking at it, so to speak?
I am. And the reason why I say that is because of my profession. I hear it all the time. In higher education, we don't have as many black males who are in college,
Okay.
And when I do talk to some of those males, a lot of things that they say to me, it does sound similar to what you just mentioned. And that's why I feel like we need to change the narrative. And we need to, I firmly believe that, you speak, whatever you say out loud, you speak into existence. So I would never walk around and just say, well, you know what, because of my skin color, I know I'm not going to get that far. What is that going to do for me? As opposed to speaking life over the situation and empowering. Like I have a black male that I'm raising. I want to speak life over him and give him the resources that I know that he needs to get to whatever the next level is. If he wants to be a police officer, a doctor, whatever it may be. So yes, to answer your question, I do believe that.
All right, so Deontay, what is your take on that? As far as do you see it as people can use that as a narrative to not
because a lot of people when they talk about critical race theory or just racism and the effects of racism, they use a universal statement. They act like if you believe in critical race theory, you believe that racism is the end all be all. Like critical race theory isn't teaching you that racism is the end all be all.
No.
Yes, race is a factor in just about everything, but it's just a factor. It's not the whole thing. Yeah, the other factors do include that black people aren't studying or black people we have blame to put on ourselves. I don't believe in the whole victimhood mentality, but I do know that when I was in school, when I went to black school specifically, they did always used to ask us or tell us at all of our prep meetings or whatever, or prep rallies, that's what you call them, is look to the person on your left, look to the person on your right. One of y'all are gonna fail or two of y'all are gonna fail or whatever, and stuff like that to tell kids, teenagers, high schoolers, that's not something you want to tell them because it did make it seem like, okay, what one of us ain't gonna make it.
And you know what? You make a really good point, because even in higher education, they started telling people to stop saying that during freshman orientation, because, like you said, it has a negative connotation behind it. And again, I just believe that if we change this public education, and also to go to Ray's comment,
Hold
I
on,
hear what you're.
before you go on, I just want to say y'all had some jacked up schools. The fact that
Oh, every single one, every time.
yo, I've never heard that in any school that I went to. But
No. They even say it in Catholic high school sometimes too.
Wow.
You'd be surprised. You would
Wow.
be surprised, bro.
All right, so I guess that's gonna sum it up for this episode or whatever. Tia, I thank you for being on the show. Definitely, Beyonce, I thank you for also being on the show as well. Again, you can tell everybody, about your channel and everything like that, and definitely subscribe to his channel.
Definitely subscribe. Check me out. Talk Edic.
He had to say it with the chest.
Literally.
Subscribe to my channel and check me out. I give a lot of good talking concepts. I do want to have more discussions like this with other people. Been hitting me up trying to get on some debates or discussions or whatever. So that's coming up, and definitely just hear some opinions. That's it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I agree. Those who are watching, don't forget to hit that like button, share it amongst your friends, and if you're not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button. That's going to do it for this Friday Night Live. Now you guys can get back to your clubbing or whatever it is that y'all got to do. We appreciate you for being here with us, and we will definitely catch everybody on the next one. Enjoy your Friday night and your weekend.
Peace.
Later, everybody. Peace.
What time is it? I woke up, soaked from a bad dream. I've been sweating like crazy. Got up, skin stuck to the bed sheets. Open window for a cold breeze. I have nothing to eat in my kitchen. Old coffee and yesterday's pizza. Listen, I promised to clean my floor, but I have no interest to fulfill my chores today. As long as the sun is shining and the weather is showing its face, just like me, it's been hiding. People painting the world with its rings, so I skip on my obligations. Like so many times before, reach for the door out to reclaim my faith in the making. God, I am here for the taking. Oh, it's a matter